Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. As you can see, we're doing a bit of a different video today. It's a top-down view of my iPad. I'm not doing a speed paint today actually. I'm going to be showing the new Procreate 5 beta application. So if you don't know the story behind this, Procreate 5 is the newest version of Procreate that's been hyped up for a while now, with many new features including an animating feature, which I personally am excited for as an animation student, but a load of other things such as Brush Studio and improved colour wheel, CMYK support, all this. And so this application actually isn't out on the marketplace yet. To download it, I had to use this thing called Test Flight, and even then had to be sent a link to it. And so I signed up for beta last night at 10 PM, that's when it went live. I was in a queue for about 50 minutes until I finally got the email saying I was actually picked to try it, so I'm very grateful and honoured for that. And there's several thousand of other people who've also got the application, but it just feels really nice if I can try it. By me having it, I can show you guys what it's like, people who were unable to access it, or even if you don't want it yet but you're still interested in what is in it, then this video is for you. So this is my first impressions with the application. I haven't even really touched it at all. I've opened it just to make sure it works. But besides that, I have not used the application, so let's open up and see what's inside. Also, just for reference, I am using a 2018 iPad 9.7 inch. I think it's 6th generation, the first baseline model that supported the Apple Pencil. So let's hope it can run on this iPad, as this is like the baseline model, so if you can run on this, you can run on anything. And so to start with, we get a normal home screen. Nothing looks oh, that's different. Besides that, nothing else really looks different. We get the same illustrations actually as last time, but one thing I just noticed then, you can see here CMYK, so that is literally for supporting the new features. If you don't know what CMYK is or difference is, digital media uses RGB because it uses pixel-based colours, so red, green, and blue. However, when you print stuff using a printer, it prints using the colours cyan, magenta, yellow, and black, which refers to CMYK. And so often when you create something with RGB, it doesn't actually look like that when you print it 100% of the time. So that's why this is a really important feature, especially with people who print their work. This is something that's been photoshopped for a while and people have been asking for it. Speaking of which as well, I've got Photoshop. Yeah, so that's another thing that recently came out as well. So I am going to be trying that out in the next couple of days, properly getting a good review of it. But this is just my impressions of Procreate for today. So yeah, we got CMYK, and as you can see, it's for comic. You can't see it, can you? Do you? So yeah, it's for comics because comics are like print based. But let's go into menu. Oh, this is different. So we got the dimensions here as normal. We got our DPI, stuff like that. So if I change that, will automatically change my layers? No. Oh. Okay, that's one good thing that's actually really cool. I don't think it had this in the last version actually. Wait, I can check for you guys. So yeah, if we create something here, as you can see, this is what it used to look like, and we don't really get a thing that tells us how many layers we'll be able to create with it, as that's based on your iPad's, like what model iPad you have. The higher models, so like the Pros, can do more layers than my one. And so, for example, if I did something that was in pixels, 4,000 by 4,000, I could only do 8 layers, sadly. However, if I worked in 1280 by 720, that's a standard size I use for animation, or if I'm really doing a high quality animation, 1920 by 1080. See, as you can see, I actually can get quite a few layers, which is really good, so I'm not limited really for what my work. If I'm posting to Instagram, however, or for print base, for example, I often go between 2000 pixels. If it's something that's just going for Instagram, I don't really care for printing. Or if it's going to print, then I'll often go to 4000. And then with high DPI 900. Oh yeah, I can also change that. So if I had a lower DPI, no, it doesn't affect it. Oh, that's interesting. So yeah, that would be my personal preference if I was printing my artwork. So that's really cool to see how many layers I can work with. And 8 layers is fine, to be honest, because you have 1 layer for sketch, 1 layer for inking, 1 layer for base color, 1 layer for shading, 1 layer for highlights, and then added features and their background. So that's 7 actually. That's the amount of layers I really use. Oh, okay. This is really high def actually. Oh. Okay, this is a bit more out of my expertise. So as you can see, we've got 2 different color formations here: RGB for red, green, blue, and then CMYK. However, I did not realize there's so many different options for both of them. So that's really cool that we can see a very in-depth version. This is interesting. Time-lapse settings. Ooh. Oh, that's so cool. So natively, when you do a time-lapse, it'll be whatever the screen size is. You don't really get to pick it, but you can pick it both the screen size, so from 1080p, 2K to 4K, so it's literally doubling in size, as well as the quality. So low quality, good quality, studio quality, and lossless means it's raw footage. That's really cool. I did not know that was going to be included, so that's really cool, the personalization there. I'll go for 1080p because I don't need anything higher, and then studio quality. Oh, that's cool. So you can default pick your background from here because some people like to work on a grey canvas or something. Okay. And then you just hide your background. Yes, that's really cool. So let's set up our profile. So we're just doing a rough sketch thing. And we're working in RGB, because we're not posting, time-lapse settings, and then yes, let's create this. So this is our canvas. So let's look into settings, what I've changed here. So in our main cart, oh, that's cool. It's got little illustrations on top as well. So the UI looks a lot cleaner, I think. So animation assist, that's the biggest feature coming. And so this is a timeline down here, like in Photoshop, like in many other animating software. And I know previously you could animate. So in the previous software, if you go animate something, don't know if I got animation here at all. No, I do not. That's just for keepsake. So if I was to go animate something right now using the regular software, I'd have to draw on separate layers as you would normally do, but it's a bit weird. If I was doing it, 1, 2, 3, 4. So as you can see, I had to go through each one individually and open the layers tab, create a new layer, close it down, then draw on it. Then from there, to actually animate, you have to go into the layer settings here and then animate in whatever format. And so this was good for basic animations. As you can see, it gives a little preview, you can adjust the frame rates and stuff. So that's what it used to be like. And now here, if I was going to do the same thing, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you can literally see, you can scrub through it. So scrubbing is just a little technique where you can just kind of give the animation motion by just going through it yourself, just seeing what it looks like. And a big benefit as well is onion skinning is built into it. If I was going to do this with the old version, I would have to change the transparency on each layer. But as you can see, it's got onion skin on it. I don't think the onion skin actually fades, does it? No, it doesn't look like it fades at all, so that's something. If you like it, I guess that's good, but at the same time, you could probably change that. Oh yeah, there you go. So you can change it right there. So it fades in and out, so you can only see the previous couple of frames. So that's really good. As you can see, 3 is the middle frame. You can see the frames going behind it and forward, so you can see what's going up. So that helps when animating, doing pose to pose or keyframes, where you often draw the keyframes of animation. So imagine these are keyframes and you have them drawn out. Imagine them as poses. Well, then to create the smooth transition between them, you might have to do several frames in between. And so with onion skin, it allows it, because from this point on, if you're working here, you can see what's behind you and you can see what is coming up now. And so you only have to think about, in that moment, 1 frame ahead. It just helps a lot because it helps with visualizing how the animations go look out. So that's really cool. What else do we have in here? We can change the frames per second, which is really nice because not all animating is done the same way. Personally, when I animate, because I'm a lazy animator, I animate on 12 frames a second, so I animate on 2s. But most commonly, you animate on 24 frames per second. What else is here? I've got the opacity of the onion skin. I don't know what this is. Blend primary frame. I don't know what that is at all. I have no idea. And then you can loop it, apparently, do one shot, so I assume that's just play it once. Yeah. Loop. So that just goes through. Also, that's a bit crazy. Let's turn it down. So yeah, that loops it. And then most favourite feature, which I've seen a lot of people online do, and it's so cool how they can do this, is the ping pong feature. So it's like creating a looping animation, but once you do the forward part of it, it'll just naturally reverse back. So that's great for creating looping animations where you only really need to animate half of it, because then it'll reverse back on itself and then loop again. So that's really cool. Especially if you're doing little animating highlights to a still illustration, so just adding things to it to make it look nice, whatever. That's a common trend I've seen people do right now, actually, on Instagram and social media. They'll have a little illustration to add like lens flares or lighting issues or stuff like that, even like bugs in the background if you're doing like a forest scene. So that firework, it's 3:30 in the afternoon. Anyway, so that's really cool, and so this is the main thing I was most excited for. Will I do my main animating in this? I'm not sure yet, because right now I do majority of my animating using this application called Rough Animator. So it just comes, maybe I will, maybe I won't, because as well I do my roughs on my iPad and then I take it into a proper animating software on my computer. But you never know, I might start doing bigger pieces in this, so that's really cool. I know as well, there's other things you can do. I can't remember how you do it. I've seen people do it before though. There's a way to set frames so that your foreground and background don't move unless you want them to move, and so you can animate both the background and foreground and middle ground on separate things all within the same timeline. It's confusing, but it means they can have multiple layers that don't affect one another, which is a really cool function that is so hard to do on a singular timeline. However, Procreate has managed to do it because I've seen a load of people on YouTube do it. I don't know how, that's something I need to learn. So yeah, that's the animating feature. Let's just delete these because we don't need it. So that's really cool. What else do we have in here? We have a brush cursor, so I don't know what that does. Does that do anything? Let's get a bigger brush. Oh yeah, oh that's cool. So especially when you're using a light brush, you can see that there, can't you? So I'm not going hard right now, I'm lightly shading it, but you can see where the actual brush outline is, but then if I go hard, it'll fill the entire thing. That's really cool. I don't know if I'll use it, but it helps if you're trying to shade areas and you don't know how big your brush is because it's hidden. That's cool. Project Canvas, that is to do with AirPlay. I think that's always been there, so I'm not sure. Light interface, yeah, it's just changed it to light. I preferably don't like it. Hurts my eyes too much. Then right hand interface, that just changes that around. Okay, so that's the main preference settings. Have they changed anything in the gesture controls? No. Is that new? Scrubbing back and forth with 3 fingers will clear the layer. That is so cool. What the hell? If that's new, I am so sad I never knew about this, but I don't think that's new. No, that's not, that is new. So this is the old version. And if we look in our preferences, yeah, that's not there. So that's a really cool feature. It helps clearing it so easily. So if you're sketching and something, so doing a lot of sketching, whatever, and you're too far into it to just undo it, like that. If you're too far into it, whatever, and you just want to clear the canvas, that is so cool and satisfying, especially if you have a matte, not matte, what is it called? A paper-like screen protector. Like, listen to this. That is so satisfying, so that's really cool. What else have we changed? Don't think they've changed anything else. Okay, that's fine. Let's go into other settings. So video. That's the same as normal. Sharing, yeah, you got your same files and PDFs or Photoshop, Procreate, PDF, JPEG. Yeah, that's all fine. Canvas, that looks the same. You can actually find the information now and stuff, which is really cool. Oh, that's cool as well. So within the setting, if you go to canvas information, I don't know what happened there. Is that a bug? I don't know, Procreate, but go to video settings, you can see how long your video length is going to be, so after it's recorded, as well as the video size, which is really cool. Okay. That is so cool. You can also see how many times you, so it's right now it's on 50. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, so every time you make a stroke, it calculates it. That's, don't know if why is that necessary, but you can see how long you've actually been working on an illustration, which is really good, especially for me. And probably a lot of people who work with, when they commission, they work by the hour, by the rate, and they don't know how long exactly they've worked on an illustration. Well, now you can see how long you've been working on it. I've been doing this for 8 minutes. So yeah, apparently. What else? Color profile. RGB, that's all mumbo jumbo, I don't understand, I just know the RGB part. Layers, yeah, that's cool. You can see how many layers I've used, what type of layers have used, just all of that. Oh, that's cool as well. So you can literally sign your artwork, so made by me. Is that something that needs to be fixed? Okay, I think we sorted a bug already. Woo, guys. I wasn't trying to go out here trying to find bugs and be like, Procreate, you're bad, because Procreate's really good. But apparently, I don't know if it's supposed to be like this, but when you're writing your signature here, you can see like the little barcode. But however, it did affect it that time. Normally, it doesn't affect it from what I've seen. So yeah, it doesn't really affect it. It's just a bit glitchy. So that's really cool. I really like that. It's not necessary, but really cool. And what else is here? You've got your normal text functions. Have this changed at all? How do I go to... How do I go to... Oh, edit style. Okay. Has any of this changed? Might have got more fonts, I don't know. I'd never really used the text function before, but I know comic artists use this all the time. I don't think this has really changed at all. It might be a bit smooth the interface. Oh, that's cool. Okay, so I have occasionally made thumbnails on my iPad when I've been in a rush and I don't have access to my computer. And one thing I miss is this little thing where you can do outline on it. Don't know if that's always been there or not, but yeah, that's just normal, I guess. We can get rid of that. Don't think anything else. Copy canvas. No, I don't know how you work that. Well, apparently you can copy everything in canvas. Anything? I don't know. I don't know about that. That's something I have to work with. I think I'll have to actually create something to work with that. Have any of these changed now? Opacity, Gaussian blur, liquify. We've got a clone tool now, clone stamp tool. So let's test this out. Let's just draw. Yeah, it works. So if you don't know what clone stamp is used for, it's often used for fixing up images. So if there's like, or actually, I'll give an example to an artist use, a proper artist use of clone stamp tool. is if you scan an artwork in and then you realize it's like dust particles on your scanner or something, and so you just, when you zoom in, you have these little particle things. What the clone stamp does really takes a pixel area from a previous part of the illustration that you choose, and then when you draw over the part you want to fix, it'll just take that design and copy it over. And so it's especially good when you have large like bodies of work where it's like a sea of blue or whatever, and you can't get that right shade to just paint over it, and so instead, to get the right texture, right shade, right everything, you just use a previous part of the canvas. So that's cool. I don't know if that's always been, I don't think that's always been there. Have these changed at all? Let's find out. Okay, I prefer this interface a lot more instead of having the 3 block lines to take up the screen. But besides that, it hasn't changed really at all. Same with that. The UI just looks a lot cleaner. That's what I'm getting from this vibe. It's just a lot cleaner, the UI, and I'm loving it. Oh cool, oh cool. So that is like the magic wand tool almost in Photoshop, where you find a colour. So if I want to change this colour, you just put it over, then you can just change it. So yeah, that's cool, I guess. What else is in here? Oh, this has changed as well. It looks different, but I don't know what that is. How do I use it? I want to know how to use it. Oh, so for example, if you create a new mask, like a love heart mask, let's just do that. That's cool. So it creates like a default like layout for masking something out. I don't know what the purpose of that is, unless you're using like the same canvas and over again. I'm not sure, but yeah, it looks like you have like the same presets for all of them. That's really cool. And then in here, what else have you got? That's new. Yeah, it's just literally fit to screen. I think that's new. I think that is to do when you resize a canvas or something. So let me just resize it here. As you can see, when you resize it, it starts to pixelate. I think this helps with the pixelation. I don't know how properly. I don't know that much about pixelation in art. So that's something you have to experiment on your own, because I have the foggiest idea. And so now we're going on to what the main exciting thing, besides the animation assist. I'm going to just get rid of this for now. So one of the big things that everyone is excited for is this. A detachable colour wheel. And so often when people draw or paint, I know I draw like this, so I'll often have YouTube or something on here, but that means I often have this empty space which people would prefer to have the colour wheel in. And so it means when you're drawing, you can just be like, yeah, change it. Yeah, go back. Is there going colour, change it, colour, change it. It just makes it a lot easier. Plus, you can have your palettes already here. So if you have a set tone, so you could be like, go from the purple into this purple, into this one, back into this one, go into this. This makes it a lot more easier, and so you spend a lot less time going through and picking colours. So I really like that. Oh, that's cool. So you can do complementary colours. Okay, that's cool. Did not know this was a feature. That helps with people who don't know about colour theory. I thought that'd be triad. They've already beat me to it. This is really cool, actually. I see everything's really cool. This entire thing is so cool. I'm so happy I get to try it. But so here it tells you split complementary colours. So if you know you're doing an illustration that heavily relies on a green colour, that's your main colour work. But then you can find out like, oh, this colour and this colour, according to colour theory, actually complement one another in this, which it does. might not look like it, but they actually work really well together. And so the same thing can be done with analog, I don't know how to pronounce that, analogs colours, which are basically three colours close in the same colour family, often a light, dark and cool, like light, mid and dark tones. So the yellow into this orange, into this pink. Triadic, which is probably one of the most common colour combinations going about. So which makes a really cool colour palette. And then finally tetradic, so that's basically the same idea but using 4 colours. And so for especially beginner artists or even intermediate advanced artists who don't really have a good understanding of colour theory but they want to spice up the colour palettes in their illustrations, this is such an easy way to do it, and I really love this. Plus, if you're thinking these tones are too bright for my liking, you can just turn it down and do exactly the same. That is so cool. Then you can, oh, that's another cool feature. So when you're working with colours, every colour that can ever be made actually has a hexadecimal value. That helps especially if you're working in a big team and you have to get colour accuracy perfect. If you make any random colour, it'll create this hexadecimal number. And in the same way as well, for example, I think 0000000 is either black or white. Yep, completely black. So as you can see, and apparently FFFFFF, so 6 Fs, that's white as well. That's really cool. You can I said really cool too many times and you think it's something else to say. Well, this is so helpful, especially for professional working, to get colour accuracy as high as possible. And like for me right now, I'm working in group animation where the colours slightly change or whatever. You don't want to have different colours within the animation on the same character. You want them to be the same throughout. And so that's really cool. You can't always trust the on-screen colours for a lot of devices. Apple devices are often really good for colour accuracy, so you don't often have that problem. But other devices, the colours aren't the best. However, the hexadecimal value is always accurate. So yeah, I really like this colour feature here. It's really not cool. No, it's cool. But it's so useful. What else do we have in here? I don't think anything's changed about our layers, so that's normal. We can't detach. The only thing that's detachable then is our colour wheel, but I understand that. Why would you need to have your layers? Well, actually, you only have one thing at a time detachable. No, so I think you can tell it's detachable because that little dragging icon. That's still really helpful. And so the other biggest thing in here is that the brush library has obviously improved dramatically. So these are just the native brushes on here. So that's really awesome. Have the calligraphy brushes really changed? They have slightly, not that. Oh, that's cool. What is happening? I'm just playing around too much with this. But the biggest feature of all with all of this is the new Brush Studio library. So normally when you edited a brush, how it would look would be something like that. And so you do get a bit of diversity in the brush light settings. It's not like you're completely limited. You have got some freedom what you can do with a brush. However, Photoshop has always been the dominating feature with that brush adaptation ability, and now you can do that in Procreate. So you have all these options about your brushes, plus you get a live example of it here to test as you go along. I think you already had that with the other one. Yeah, so you already had that here, but this is on a bigger scale with more detail. And so if you want to get a brush that suits your need, you can literally customize it. Make it more streamlined, so less raggedy edges. You can make it jitter more, which looks really cool, but this, yeah, it's a, Don't jitter. Wait. Okay, so that fall off feature, I've never known what it does before until now. Apparently, when you draw on a pencil, you can see it's always there. However, with the fall off, as you draw, it'll then disappear after a while, which I don't personally enjoy, but I understand why someone might like it. This is cool. You can literally change the tip size of it to make it more precise or not. Change the size of it, tip animation. I don't know what that means. A lot of this I'm going to have to experiment with or find a class about, because a lot of this is so detailed. I never really created my own brushes in Photoshop, so I didn't really think I'd be starting now. But it just shows you, if you're someone who creates, like, to make their own brushes, you can. Wet mix, what? Can I reset everything? Oh, okay. We've had our first crash. Let's share that information. To be fair, I'm not going to blame the Procreate for that, because I have got like one of the worst iPads going, so the power in this is not the best. If you had an iPad Pro, I think it'd be able to handle that brush feature a lot better than mine could. As well, I was just messing around. I didn't know what I was doing with it. Like, it was the dilution, wasn't it? Yeah. So now I know not to go with that, because that messes it up. Let's close you down and start you back up again. Brush Studio dilating feature. So that's the only time it's crashed so far, which is remarkable actually. For something that just came out, it's not even released yet. What's all this? Oh, this is cool. You can change how your Apple Pencil actually affects it. As you can see how by jittery this is. My iPad's probably not the best for doing all this in, because it'll just crash. And I understand that, I completely understand that. It requires high performance, and that's not what my iPad's for. Mine's a budget iPad. Mine's for, I'll get whatever I can afford. It does what I need perfectly, and so I've never needed a reason to upgrade it. However, it's good to know that if I do upgrade in the future, I have all this to play with. That's cool as well. So what? I'm sorry guys for the amount of times I say cool in this video. I'm just impressed with everything. When you get brushes online and whatever, you can import them into Procreate and adjust there. And so this looks like it gives a feature where you can actually see who created the brushes, and so that people don't really steal your work, because even creating brushes is still a work in itself that's really hard. But overall, I'm very excited to play with this. I'm going to be using this for a load of projects, mainly my animating project, but I've also got some freelance work going on. So I'll be doing a lot of that stuff in here. I do know that they said in the warning that after this beta is finished, so if these are for people who've also got this beta, apparently after the beta is finished, everything you create on here will be erased. So make sure to keep on backing up your work quite often, which is good to know. However, for things I know that for certain I can do in the regular Procreate and I don't want to mess around too much, I will still use regular Procreate for it. So that's, for example, right now I'm working on some background illustrations for my animation. You can see I've done thumbnail there, I've done some sketches there, whatever. But that's all going to stay there, I'm not going to mess around. However, for more fun stuff I will be testing this. I've got so many drawing apps on here. I've got 2 Procreates. I've also got Photoshop, which, spoiler, is not the best for drawing right now. I'll give you an example of why it's not the best. Ignore my horrible illustration. I did this late at night in like 20 minutes. The biggest thing you can't do is rotate on it, which is such a bummer. And so yeah, hopefully I'll be doing a review of that in the next couple of weeks. Other than that, there is some redeeming it. I've got Adobe Fresco here as well, which was released I want to say like a month ago. I'm not fully sure. Haven't really tested this out either, so I won't do a comparison between these two. That's a future coin soon. But yeah guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I certainly have had so much fun experimenting with it. Also wasted a lot of time. I should have been doing work. Actually half an hour, that's not too bad. I still should have been doing work, but I'm so excited to try this out. I don't know when this beta will go end, and at the same time I don't know when the full version will come out. Hopefully it's not too long because I want everyone to enjoy this. And for people asking, because I think they'll be asked quite often, I think Procreate 5 is going to be not free, but if you already have the original Procreate application, then it's just an update from that. I don't know how much Procreate is to start with. I think it's about £8, £9. And so if you already have that, when the full version comes out, I think you'll just be automatically updated. There you guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'm going to go edit this now, and hopefully the time you're seeing this is actually the day I recorded it, because this came out yesterday. It's currently Wednesday. So I want this to be out in the public for you guys to see as soon as possible. But if you've enjoyed this video, please give the video a thumbs up, comment down below, are you excited for Procreate 5? And likewise, have you already got it? Have you already created a masterpiece with it? Because if you already have, bravo to you. There's a lot of people on Twitter who already have it, and it's amazing how well they did it and how fast they did it. And if you like these type of videos, let me know, because I do, at heart, I'm also a tech nerd as well as an art nerd. And so I know this is a drawing channel, however, I do have a soft spot for applications and technologies as well. Can't remember the guy's name on YouTube. I think it's like Brad something. He reviews technology for artists. That's something I like to do. I can't afford it, but whatever I can do, test out programs, I will do, because I find it really interesting. But yeah guys, until next time, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe because it really helps the channel. We're getting close to 100 subscribers. It's been like a year now. Oh my god, am I going to reach 100 subscribers before the end of the year? If I do, that's really cool. I don't know if I will, because that was one of my New Year resolutions. But if I do, guys, that would be really cool. Might be a giveaway, we don't know. It might be a giveaway saying really cool. Is that just my branding now? I don't know. Anyway guys, I'm rambling. Hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope you have a good rest of your day. And until next time guys, keep on being creative and have fun.